Shalom, brothers and sisters. Welcome to another edition of Maccabees TV News. This is your brother Priest Daniel, Alliance of Israel, Maccabees Alliance Council. To start off, brothers and sisters, if you're not already subscribed to this channel, then please make sure you hit the subscribe button as well as hitting the notification bell so you can be notified anytime that we go live on this channel. I'm going to be spending a lot more time here and just sharing some stories that I come across that I think brothers and sisters might find interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share my screen. I know it's very early here on the East Coast. Right now it's about 7:15 Eastern Standard Time. So a lot of brothers and sisters probably won't catch this on the live, but you'll catch it on the playback. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and let's look at today's news story that I want to share with you, shall we? Okay. So today's story that I want to share with brothers and sisters is concerning this gentleman right here. Today's story is written by the author, or I should say the columnist, Greg B. Smith, and it is from a newspaper here in New York called The City. And the date of this article came out about 2 days ago, but I just came across it today. It's from December 4th, 2019, and the article says, LOUIMA cop back on public payroll as a NYCHA carpenter. Now, some of you brothers and sisters may be too young to remember, and others of you, if you're not from the New York area, although it was a national story, maybe you heard about it, maybe you didn't, right? But back in the days, we're going to read the article, it'll go into it, but I'm just going to give you a brief overview. Back in the days, there was a brother from Haiti, a so-called Haitian brother, that was arrested and taken to the precinct, and he was taken into the bathroom, and he had a plunger literally inserted into his rectum by a police officer. And the other police officers that witnessed the assault basically lied and said nothing. To make a long story short, the officer that put the plunger up the brother's behind was eventually imprisoned, and the other officers were also did short prison stints, and they were fired, basically during what you call here in New York a departmental trial. But as we always tell you, brothers and sisters, a lot of these police officers that lose their jobs as police officers always end up with a soft landing. And in many cases, they wind up making more money in their new job without the risk than they would have made had they continued to be police officers. And here is an example of that. This is a slap in the face to everyone that lives in New York City, as well as just any so-called black person with a conscience whatsoever. Let's go ahead and let's read the article, right? All right. And so this is what the article says. And again, it's from December the 4th of 2019. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's read and let's see what the article says. Okay, it says, a disgraced ex-cop convicted for lying about his role in one of the most notorious acts of police brutality in NYPD history is back on the public payroll, hired by the New York City Housing Authority as a carpenter, taking home a six-figure salary, the city has learned. So if he's on the public payroll, guess whose taxes are paying this ex-cop who shoved a plunger up a black man's behind, and the police officers that lied about it? This particular police officer, he's not the guy that did the plunger act, but he's the guy that saw the act and lied about it. Okay? Guess who's paying his salary? You are. Charles Schwartz. Let's stop right there. Charles Schwartz. Y'all see that last name? That lets you know that he is what we call affectionately a small hat. Now, I cannot take credit for that particular phrase, but we're in the day where everything on YouTube is censored. YouTube is dealing with great censorship. So I can't say what I really want to say. So I'm going to use the affectionate term small hat. I can't take credit for that term. That term was introduced by the irritated genie. That's the first person I ever heard use that term. And it refers to the people whose religion requires them to wear a little bitty small hat on top of their head. Y'all know what we're talking about. Charles Schwartz, a small hat, was convicted of perjury stemming from the 1997 sexual assault of Haitian immigrant Abner LOUIMA inside a police precinct bathroom. The cop was fired by the NYPD and sentenced to 5 years in federal prison. So this guy has a felony. He's an ex-con, and he was fired by the NYPD. In 2015, Schwartz landed a job at the NYCHA, which is the New York City Housing Authority, as a maintenance worker. He quickly moved up to a coveted role as a housing authority carpenter, earning how much a year, brothers and sisters? $114,000 last year. So you have brothers and sisters, and I know some of them, that work for the New York City Housing Authority that have applied for this job over and over, and they can't get it. That's why I said it's a coveted job, because they don't give that job just to anybody. But this particular guy, somehow or another, started in 2015, and we're now in, they said as of last year, which is 2018, within 3 years, he landed a role as a housing authority carpenter, making $114,000 a year, which is paid by the taxpayers of New York City, the same people whom he covered up his partner violating one of our people. Y'all see that? Schwartz's rapid rise to at the NYCHA contrasts with his brief tenure with Con Edison, where he was hired as a mechanic and fired within a month. When he was let go, he sued, saying a utility manager told him his continued employment would cause damage to the company's reputation. So when he was hired by Con Edison, right, one of the supervisors at Con Edison, one of the utility managers at Con Edison, had enough sense to know that this dude working for Con Edison was a bad look. Because again, if you're from New York City, you know a lot of the Con Edison workers, they're so what you would call today so-called blacks and so-called Hispanics. They're the main ones that work for Con Edison. You understand? So to have this guy on the job, probably having to partner up with one of our people as a partner, and then they find out what this guy did, would have been a huge problem. So basically, he was let go by Con Edison. Okay, let's continue. Late Tuesday, NYCHA spokesperson Barbara Bernasio, y'all see that last name, right? Italian, who a lot of times are racist against our people too, of course, issued a statement to the city regarding Schwartz's hiring, voicing support for employing individuals convicted of crimes who have served their sentences. So here's the question I'd like to ask. How many of our people that have been convicted and served their sentences are able to get into the NYCHA, the New York City Housing Authority, and rise up to the ranks of a carpenter within a span of 3 years and are able to make 6 figures? How many of our people would be able to do that? I know a bunch of brothers out the truth, but I'm more focused on brothers in the truth that have felonies on their record, that have served their time, and they can't get a job at McDonald's. I know a few brothers, and they're struggling right now to make ends meet. This is evil as hell. Let's continue. New York City Housing Authority stands behind the Fair Hiring Practices and Fair Chance Act. A lot of these acts, this is what you brothers and sisters have to know. When it comes to going back all the way to the Civil Rights Act, all the way up until today, all these acts that are passed, a lot of times they're passed so-called on your behalf. In other words, they're supposed to benefit our people, but a lot of times these acts benefit everybody except our people, a lot of times. Let's read that again. NYCHA stands behind fair hiring practices and the Fair Chance Act. With more than 11,000 employees, we have and will continue to hire formerly incarcerated persons who are qualified to perform their job duties while maintaining the safety of residents. And just scroll down a little bit. New Yorkers have made clear their unwavering support for criminal justice reform and individual rehabilitation during post-incarceration. Yes, but I can guarantee you that statement is being used, but it's being taken out of context. New Yorkers have not voiced support for hiring disgraced ex-police officers who covered up for the violation and assault and almost murder, hell, of a man that had a plunger stuck up his behind and had to have all types of surgeries and different things to repair his insides, man. I don't think New Yorkers would have supported that. That's not what they meant. This is crazy. But again, when these laws are passed, you're used as the face to pass these laws, but then other people benefit more from these so-called laws than our people. It's all part of the curses. Let's continue. Let's go back now. It says Schwartz, now 54, was 31 that night, August 1997, when he and his partners responded to a call about a brawl at a Brooklyn nightclub. LOUIMA was brought to the 70th precinct where he was assaulted. LOUIMA told the Daily News from a hospital bed he'd been beaten by the cops in the squad car on the way to the station, then dragged into a precinct bathroom where one cop, later identified as Justin Volpe, sodomized him with a wooden stick. Yes, brothers and sisters, Justin Volpe stuck a wooden stick up Adler LOUIMA's rectum in the police precinct, not in the squad car, not in the streets, but in a place that's supposed to be safe. In the precinct, it took him in the bathroom and stuck a stick up his behind. Schwartz was identified by the other cops as leading LOUIMA to the bathroom. This guy, who has been hired and is now making $114,000 as of last year of taxpayer money, was the person that brought him to the bathroom to be sodomized. And he has a six-figure job, while our people that have records can't work at McDonald's hardly. It's all part of the curses, man. How's post-racial America going for our people, really? Let's continue. Volpe, Schwartz, and three other cops were arrested in the incident. And in what prosecutors called a cover-up, Volpe switched his plea at trial to guilty and admitted the assault, claiming he believed LOUIMA had sucker punched him before the arrest. How interesting. Okay, let's continue. During the trial, LOUIMA testified that he couldn't identify the officer who held him down in the precinct, but said it was the same cop who drove him to the station house. Schwartz was identified in police documents as the driver, so he's the person that drove him to the precinct and led him to the bathroom. Although it was never proven in court that he was the officer identified by LOUIMA. On June 8, 1999, Schwartz was convicted of obstruction of justice and violating LOUIMA's civil rights and was fired from the NYPD that day. But as this article is showing you, he has a soft landing. He was sentenced to 15 years in prison, but the Second Circuit Court of Appeals overturned his conviction in 2002 on the grounds of ineffective counsel. A new trial was convened with additional perjury charges related to Schwartz's statements to investigators. In 2002, he was convicted of one count of perjury for lying about his actions in the station house. Specifically, Schwartz claimed he didn't lead LOUIMA to the bathroom, contradicting the accounts of two other officers. The jury could not reach a verdict on the other charges against Schwartz related to the assault. Schwartz was sentenced to 5 years and released in prison. Now, I wasn't aware of the 2002 trial. I didn't really follow that the way I followed the trial when it first happened in the 90s. I would love to see what the composition of that jury was that couldn't find a way to convict him. That's all I'm gonna say about that until I do more research. But I have if I were a betting man, we weren't well represented on that jury at all. In November 2014, he landed a job as a mechanic with Con Edison. He said in court papers that he admitted to his perjury conviction on his job application. Schwartz says a Con Edison administrator told him he was terminated because his continued presence as an employee could cause potential disruption of business operations. Of course, the minute that the brothers and sisters on the job find out who this guy is, of course, Con Edison was right. Of course. In a 2015 lawsuit, Schwartz argued his firing violated a state law barring discrimination based on the person's criminal history, unless there's a direct relationship between the offense and the specific employment. He contended his perjury conviction was unrelated to his work for Con Edison, checking for gas leaks. In August 2015, Manhattan Supreme Court Justice Carol Edmeade dismissed his lawsuit, and appeals court upheld her decision in 2017, so his lawsuit was dismissed. Let's continue. Payroll records show that Schwartz was hired by NYCHA as a maintenance worker sometime in 2015, earning how much a day? $199 a day walking in. How many of you brothers and sisters make $199 a day walking into the job your first day? How many of you brothers and sisters make that? That's over $25 an hour if you have an 8-hour day. How many of you brothers and sisters walk into a job making that? This is a person that was convicted of doing something so heinous, walks into a job and just gets it. His total salary in that job in 2015 was $18,930, records show, and that's probably because he was hired towards the end of the year. So it's not that this is all he made. He was hired to, because if you're making $199 a day, your yearly salary is going to be more than this. So most likely he was hired towards the end of the year, and that's why it's so low. NYCHA job application forms ask all applicants if they have ever been convicted of a felony. If the applicant checks yes, they are asked to explain the nature of the charges. The form also asks all applicants if they consented to a background check and warns that any untruthful statements could result in termination. So the NYCHA had to do a background check. You think they didn't see in his background that he's a former police officer and what he was convicted of? And hired him anyway. Brenna Caccio said Schwartz fully disclosed his criminal history prior to being hired and has thus far been an employee in good standing throughout his tenure at NYCHA. In 2016, he saw his salary rise dramatically when he snagged a job as an NYCHA carpenter and was paid $349 a day to do the work as assigned. Brothers and sisters, this dude is making $349 a day. How many of you are making that? Y'all know how much an hour that works out to? I'm gonna let y'all do the math. That's insane. He made $78,836 in 2016, $98,775 in 2017, and $114,063 last year. This year he got another raise. Man, this dude is just getting raise after raise after raise, and is currently pulling in $356 a day, earning $102,361 through September, record shows. So that way he's going to definitely pass the $114,000. NYCHA carpenters are paid for their work on a daily basis as needed. The authorities' aging buildings are in constant need of repair, and managers have increasingly awarded no-bid work to contractors to supplement work performed by in-house carpenters. Schwartz's attorney, Alan Serens, did not return a call seeking comment. No one answered the door Tuesday at Schwartz's Staten Island home. So there you have it, brothers and sisters. This guy who is a convicted felon, a convicted liar, who drove Abner LOUIMA to the precinct, who led Abner LOUIMA to the bathroom where he was violated with the handle of a plunger, is working currently for the city still. Last year, he pulled in $114,000. This year, he's making over $350 a day and is going to pass the $114,000 he made last year. All of that on your dime, New York City. So how is post-racial America going for you, brothers and sisters? I'm not talking about the ones in the truth. I'm talking about brothers and sisters in the world. The only safe haven you have is this truth. Outside of this truth, you're going to think that this is just the way of the world. That when you are a white man, you can commit the most heinous of acts, and you're always going to come out on top. It's part of the curses. It's part of the curses. But we're in a time now, as the Most High begins to wake Israel up, that curse is going to be reversed. But the only way it's going to be reversed is we have to hit that magic number in the book of Revelation, chapter 7. We have to wake up 144,000, and the Most High will begin to afflict this evil, wicked, corrupt system. And for all of our people that are into this so-called conscious community, that really want to be good citizens and be part of the society, you are part of the problem. And when the Most High brings them down, you're going down with them. With that being said, this is Maccabees TV News. This is your brother Priest Daniel. And make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. This is the backup to Maccabees TV. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you can be notified every time I go live or upload a video. And lastly, be sure to share this video everywhere and get the word out. Okay? And I'll be back to you, brothers and sisters, with another news story. I'm going to try to give y'all one every day or at least one every other day on this channel. And with that, I say this video is long enough. I say peace and shalom.